You are welcome to the program Dynamic Diet on the Nigerian Television Authority Channel 11 Akure, the Dynamic Station, this Saturday morning, and then this is the fourth Saturday in the month of January 2026. And if I may still be permitted to say Happy New Year once again, though we have some of you have at least been part of this program this year, but for those that are just joining for the first time, it is a Happy New Year from us here to you. This year is going to be an eventful one on Dynamic Data and to us individually and as a station here in Nta Akure. And of course, I know same is going to be for you out there. And that's why we're here this morning. I am Nta Akure. Of course, I'm not here alone this morning. I'm always here with my ever smiling and ever ready colleague.
Okay, hello beautiful people. It's good to have you join us today on Dynamic Diet. And like he said, that this year, is filled with lots of hopes and expectations. So how is it going so far? And on the show today, we are here as usual to make your screen beautiful, colorful. So we urge you to sit back and relax as we will be taking you on a jolly good ride. Stay tuned.
Well, and on this program this morning, we have lots of activities for you. We're going to start with what people have to say. What is we feel just like kind of felt the pulse of the people about why many people say that January is a very long month.
Is it actually long, or is it mentally long, or psychologically long,
or financially long?
Because I noticed that
financially long.
During the Christmas season, the December was so fast, and now we are here, and the month has refused to,
So we're going to look at what people feel. Why do people say it is long, and what are those things that we can do to make it short? And so many other things that we are going to show you that one in just in a video that we'll be bringing your way. And of course, on our weekly mirror segment this morning.
On our weekly mirror segment, we'll be having a special guest, and we'll be looking at vaccine hesitancy. And he has a lot to tell us about the importance of vaccine and all that the government have for us, So we also have our entertainment segment on the show. On the entertainment segment, and not forgetting the sports segment. A lot went down during the week. A lot went down. How was the match with Nigeria and Morocco? It was a cinema on its own.
The funny thing, I intentionally, deliberately did not watch that match.
I did watch, and
I was only following. I was only following the updates because
it was traumatizing.
I didn't want to have a heart condition.
Oh gosh, I was so expectant, but I noticed that both ends, the defense was so tight, and our team, they did well though, but they didn't finish well.
No, actually we can't really say they did not finish well, because in matches it's meant to win, especially when you are playing with a very good team on their own soil, being the host nation. So you will not expect anything less than that. Of course, all this will be bringing your way this morning. And after now, let's see this video where we tried to feel the pulse of the people. Why do people say January is a very long month? And what are those things we can do subsequently to make it shorter, especially in times of finances? Let's sit back and relax. After now, our guests will be coming up for the weekly mirror segment. Please don't go away.
For many households, managing money remains a major concern at the start of the year, especially as rising living costs continue to put pressure on family budgets. Views from residents show that financial strain is wildly felt in January, with many describing the month as particularly challenging.
Those people who complain that January is always long is because they have failed to plan towards this. They have blown all their savings, and then they overshoot their budgeting during the yellow tides. But if you plan well, budgeting, that you don't spend beyond what you have already budgeted for, and avoiding impulse buying, is one of the basic things people see. They buy those things they didn't plan for. It will end up putting them in problem. So this year now, I would suggest personally that I will have started planning for each of the months. Even I make plans, budgets for weekly expenditures for domestic use and for my personal use. I make sure all those ones are calibrated so that I don't overshoot my budget and get into financial mess.
To start with, we like to discuss about the month of December, because that was what led to the month of January. It happened to be a festive season, whereby people will have to purchase this and that in preparation for the festive season, the Christmas and also the New Year. So I want to believe those are the things that people spend most of their maybe cash upon. And before you know it, people will now come with that saying that January is the longest month. Why are they saying that? It's just because the cash available as at that time, maybe you cannot even take them to the end of that January. I want to believe that has been the cause that makes people to talk about the January has been the longest month. So what I want to say about managing our finances, number one, we have to cut our coat according to what is on ground, not according to our size no more. So I want to believe that if we are doing it the way we are managing or about our planning, because everything has to be on planning. So if you have already planned towards what we are earning, I believe that can help some of us to go ahead by at least managing ourselves all through the month of January. People used to say this, their fingers are not equal. Like for example, myself, now I work in a private school as a teacher. So you are not expecting my salary to be the same as those people working, like the politicians, those working in the bank. So everybody, they are working based on what they are earning. So, and I want to believe our expenses should be based on our earning as well. So planning our expenses, we should be able to at least draw some amount of money from that our earning to keep it as a savings, should in case of rainy day.
Why we feel that the expenses we incur in January is always at the high side. Or in January, why we feel that we could not at every point in time meet our demand in January. It is not so, my sister. It is all basically on planning. We ought to have planned January right from our income that we received in December.
Financial expert Fesi Olabode attributed the pressure to heavy spending during the festive period and poor financial planning before the new year. He explained that building small but consistent savings can help cushion the impact of unexpected expenses and reduce financial stress.
January has 31 days, like normal months, 31 or 30 days, except February. But the fact is that it is considered as a long month because in December, the festive months, people have spent a lot of money. And when you don't have anything to spend, then it will be very dry. And that is why they call it a dry month. But in a situation where you choose to plan, he who fails to plan plans to fail. And we used to tell people, proper planning prevents poor performance. So for you not to perform poorly in the month of January, you must have prepared in the months, this festive period, so that you don't use all what you have before January, so that you will have reserve, because you know definitely expenditure is awaiting you in January. And usually, like government does, there is budget. The way for you to ensure that you don't run into trouble is to prepare your self-budget, your own budget, not the government one now. You will be able to identify sources of your income and those expenditure. For instance, you know that in January, no how, school fees will be paid. School fees will be paid. You must have made provision for it. And you know that salary for January will not come not earlier than 26 or 20 something. So which means, and school fees will have come before then, which means we will have planned ahead by making some savings for the month of January expenses. In other words, all the festivities, you will reduce whatever you are doing. If you are killing a cow, you can reduce it to killing a goat. If it is a turkey, you can reduce it to fish or something, to ensure that you have something you will fall back on, so that in this January it will not be so dry for you. Especially, you will need to eat. So you must have made provision for what you store at home, so that our people will advise that in this January they make sure that they reduce their expenditure too. You reduce your expenditure to be able to cope with available income. That is how to manage yourself before the streams of income starts coming in.
With both experts and residents calling for caution, the consensus is that careful planning and disciplined spending can lead to better financial stability in the months ahead.
It's good to know that you're still there with us on this program this morning, and this is the Dynamic Diet on the Nigerian Television Authority Channel 11 Akure Dynamic Station. You've heard what people said, how to say there, just about how you need to plan, especially from the previous year in December, so that your January will not be too long, as people usually say. Right now we are on the weekly mirror segment of the program, where we're going to be talking about vaccine hesitancy, with particular focus on Ondo State. And we are having in the studio with us this morning a very familiar face on this program. He is an expert, in his own field, he is an authority, and we have in the studio this morning the Director of Disease Control and Immunization of the Ondo State Primary Health Care Development Agency, in person of Dr. Victor Adepe. So you're welcome to the program once again.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you so very much. And I want to say it's another privilege and opportunity for me and my agency to interface with our people in their various locations and give them the reason for hesitancy in vaccines and actually the ways to really to be able to encourage our people, to key into the process of vaccination, because of the lots of gains to get from the vaccine process. Thank you.
Okay, so doctor, according to the topic we'll be looking at today, vaccine hesitancy, what level?
Well, let's even start with what exactly we're talking about when we're talking about vaccine hesitancy.
Yeah, vaccine. Let's talk about vaccination first, so that people will understand that. What is, if they don't understand the vaccine, what do you understand by hesitancy and all the rest of it? So, vaccines are some kind of medications that we give to people so that they have a kind of boosted immunity to be able to defend and protect their body system from being affected by some various, vaccine-preventable diseases. So vaccine are the antigens that we introduce, and vaccination is the whole process, that is involved in making the vaccine available, getting people ready to get the vaccines and all of that. So it's a whole lot of our process. Then when we talk about hesitancy, vaccine hesitancy is a process whereby people found it so difficult and feel so reluctant to access the vaccine. They build brick ways or brick blocks to the whole process of vaccination. They will not make themselves available, for vaccine processes. I mean, for their children or their wards to get vaccinated, either by way of rumor, by way of some traditional and cultural beliefs, and they just develop a kind of phobia for vaccine, and so in that process they make all the services of the government efforts fruitless, and this is not good enough for our people, because there are a lot of gains, a lot of benefits, a lot of advantages to derive from being vaccinated, and all of this is just to ensure that our health remains intact.
Okay, so comparing subsequent years, how can you rate the level of existence in 2025 in Ondo State?
Yeah, in the previous years, we had a lot of challenges, particularly in some rural communities where information were not being adequately passed to people about what they really need to know about vaccine and vaccination process. And during that period, maybe around 2010, downward, it was so difficult, a very terrible period, that people who actually run away, they keep their children indoors, that they stop them from going to school because of the fact they know that our healthcare workers will visit schools and use that opportunity to vaccinate people, for the period where we carry out a kind of a vaccination campaign like that, they stop their children from going to school. And, mothers don't bring their children to health facilities for vaccinations, even the mothers themselves, pregnant women, because there are some vaccine schedules that are meant for pregnant women and women of childbearing age group. These people, they run away. But with, repeated information, repeated sensitization, continuous commitment on our part in mobilizing group and in engagement with community leaders, community members, traditional rulers, use of media homes like yours, and having community dialogues and all of that, and when they see government showing faces and they begin to see that it's like this thing is going to be beneficial to them, and they change attitude. Of course, social mobilization is a process where we want to change the attitude of people from negative to positive towards what is in town, at least that will benefit them. So when we compare vaccine hesitancy of about 10 years or 5 years ago to what we have now, the story has changed. So we are having a better cooperation from our people now. And I want to say that we recorded the height of it in 2019, during 2020 or thereabout, where we have the mass vaccination of people against COVID-19. In fact, that was the height of it, where people began to say that if you take this COVID-19 vaccine, you're going to grow horns when you are not a bull.
That's why I'm smiling. Even last week, a woman slumped and died. And guess what? A woman was asking, are you sure it wasn't that COVID-19? I hope the woman did not take. I took. So I was just like,
can you imagine?
Started.
Again.
I had my own double 2 doses.
I had 3 doses, So, like I said, COVID-19 era was when we had the peak of it. People saying if you the site where you get injected, if you put electric bulb there, that it will glow. At times you grow wing and you be flying like an eagle.
Some say your muscles, your bone will turn to iron.
All manners of that. Some people went ahead and said that if you take the vaccine, particularly for our young girls, they will reduce their fertility rate, and that 2 years after I might have taken the vaccine, one may die, and that this is just a pre-planned arrangement of the government of the whole world to ensure that they reduce the population of the whole world. I mean, it is just, a way of working against the government and the vaccine system.
Let me ask you, because you said we had some of those issues in the past. Let me now say, comparing Ondo State to other states, was it so a special thing to us?
Yeah, it is not really so much a problem to us here. I mean, the vaccine hesitancy is not really much problem to us in Ondo State because of so many things that have gone, many resources that has gone into mobilizing people, spreading information, and the natural the natural gift that God give our people in Ondo State. I'm talking about the level of education here. People are so educated, and they get better information about the benefit of vaccine. So this one a kind of reduced vaccine hesitancy among our people in Ondo State. Again, we must also let you know that we have the support of our traditional rulers. There are various domains and kingdoms. They have a lot of influences, and these influences have gone a long way in promoting, vaccine and vaccine processes. Hence, whatever the KBAC of your kingdom or of your domain says, and you want to believe, even when you see the KBAC himself participating in the vaccination process. Again, our religious leaders, the Khan chairman, the chief imam, all of them, they are friends to Mr. Government, and they are friends to our own process, they are friends to our agency. So we have been working with using the appendage of the community engagement, and aside that, we also involve the CBOs, community-based organizations. We use Ijalajas, the head of various associations. Just 2 days back, if I may be correct, 2 days back we had our social mobilization committee meetings, and members of this committee, it's a whole lot of people from various organizations, associations, MDAs, Ministry of Information, Ministry of Education, SUBEB, media houses, and traditional rulers. The KBAC, the DG of Akure, represented the traditional rulers, sent his representative, the Shifasai, who had always been upcoming. All of them are here. The head of private nursery and primary schools, the chairman of PTAs, and the women leaders in the Muslim community, the women leaders in Christian communities, and we drew a whole lot of people from various organizations, and it was a successful one. So during that process, we gave out the reasons for bringing them together, for bringing this group together, and the group is the essence is just to collaborate with them so that they help us spread the good news about vaccination in their various fora, and using their various opportunity of communicating with themselves through WhatsApp meetings, town hall meetings, church opportunities, and things like that. So, and when this one, we have been doing this in the time past, so that one had really helped us a lot, and we want to make sure we reactivate and revitalize that group. That is why we brought them together 2 days ago, so that the job they did in the time past had made us record very huge success in our last campaign, or that made us record high coverage in our routine immunization activities, so that they should continue with it, that the government is aware of their own contribution to the development of health system in our various communities that form the whole lot of Ondo State.
Okay, so Doctor, I must commend the Ondo State health system, particularly the primary health care system.
Thank you so very much.
Because the last time you came here, we talked about mosquito-treated nets and all that. It was well distributed, well documented, because it came to my community. Even if you are not at home, they ensure that they drop for you.
Yeah, yes.
You understand? So it's not the vaccination.
At all.
But the thing is that some people received it. Are they using it properly? So that brings me to the next question, what are the implications of knowing that you need this thing and you are not using it? You need this vaccination, but you are refusing to go for it.
Yeah, thank you so very much. It's a very bad thing. If an eligible child is being, kept away from getting vaccinated, of course, the child is at risk of being infected, and when he is infected, if complications of such diseases comes, well, the child and the parents will face the music. But it will have been a very good thing if it is limited within that family. When a child is infected like that, this child becomes focus of transmission of, of spreading the disease there. It becomes, the whole of the household becomes, a risk to the community. A child in the community who is not being vaccinated and is infected with that disease has the virus or the bacteria in his or her body system, will begin to spread it either by way of sneezing, by way of defecation, by way of interaction, coughing, all of that.
You even go to the classroom and
spread it. So that leads to what we call epidemics. That is outbreak of disease, which we do not want here. Aside that, you begin to see that when a child comes down with the complication of vaccine preventable disease, take for instance poliomyelitis that cripple the child, maybe the two legs or one upper arms and lower, one leg, one hand, the child becomes what we call it a liability to the parents and to the whole society. And then of course, the cost to continue to manage this child becomes so exorbitant that the parents will not be able to afford it. And of course, the damage is not reversible. It is permanent. So the child's, chosen career might not be met again. Take for instance a child who is also infected with disease called measles, because measles is also a vaccine preventable disease, and the disease measles causes the blindness of that baby's eye or deafness. How then do you want to tell me that child will fulfill destiny? Now this child might even be the person that will become the president or the governor of the state that will deliver the people, might be the destined Messiah. But because of the fact that he's been infected with, a permanent damage like that, then that will render the person unable to achieve aims. You get what I mean? Then the productivity, the productivity, for instance, a crippled child will not be productive to the family. Rather, it will be a liability. Then that is telling us there is what we call the health index of a community. I do know this mortality rate, maternal and infant mortality rate, mortality and morbidity rates. Mortality is death rate, morbidity is the number of people that are sick. So if we have a large number of crippled people in a state, that means the health index of that state is bad, but we thank God for the leadership of Ondo State Primary Health Care Development Agency, the political leaders, right away from the office of Mr. Governor to the office of the Honorable Commissioner for Health, SA or Health, the permanent secretaries, and all other people that are working in the immunization department and other primary health care activities. A lot of commitment is there. We want to talk about the health workers, even at the grassroots level. They are up and doing, and they navigate every arena of their various world's communities and ensure that vaccination, are properly delivered to people that are eligible for it.
Oh, wow, thank you very much. You have said so much about this hesitancy that I'm almost left with nothing to ask, but let me come to this point. We have seen what you have done in the past. Every year there is projection, there is postulation, there's vision of what we want to do better. Even the successes we have recorded, we need to sustain and improve on them.
Exactly.
What is the projection like for vaccination in Ondo State this year?
Thank you for that very brilliant question. This year, by the special grace of God, we have our team, formidable one, very strong and committed, high level of commitment from the policy maker to the policy implementers at the grassroots level, and these people will continue to encourage ourselves to continue to deliver the best according to the objective of the Mr. Governor, to ensure that we have our 80% coverage of our routine immunization. Then all our SIEAs, that is supplemental immunization activities, and these are the ones that will come occasionally, maybe twice in a year. We call it campaign. So we also prepare to do this, particularly in the area of community sensitization and mobilization. We also have our plans that we continue to build on the structures that is already on ground, continue to update them with relevant information, better information that will continue to give confidence to people in the community to enable to access vaccines. And we want to assure that our vaccine supply system or supply chain is improved upon. When I talk about vaccine supply chain, it involves taking vaccine from Abuja, from national, keep it potent at all level, and distribute to the final mile. That is the person that will take it. This year, by the grace of God, there is going to be new vaccine introduction, about 2 of them in Ondo State, across the whole country, 1, but in 4 states, 2 vaccines will be introduced. The new vaccine that will be introducing this time around, we call it measles rubella vaccine. Initially, we have been giving measles vaccine to our people. They are quite familiar with this. A child at 9 months old will take first dose of measles vaccine, and at 15-16 months old they will take the second dose. That is measles alone. But this time around, there is another disease called rubella, which has similar manifestation to measles, but it goes a long way when it affects pregnant women. I mean, the damages it does goes a longer way than measles when it affects a pregnant woman. If it affects a pregnant woman, the baby in the belly, in the uterus, will be infected with the virus to the extent that the pregnancy may be aborted prematurely, and if not aborted and developed to term to the delivery, the baby might be born blind or might be born deaf. And we call this Touches syndrome. It's a syndrome. In fact, the baby may be born blind alone or deaf alone and have some other, deformities alongside that. And again, the baby may be born having blindness, deafness, mental retardation, and all of them together. So how do you want to assure and ensure that kind of a baby will survive life? So that is why we say, okay, let us begin to introduce rubella vaccine. So we don't want to, because rubella and measles, they are very similar in nature, so their vaccines are also similar in nature. So we combine the 2 vaccines together to be given at a time to a baby. So it's going to be bivalent vaccine, measles rubella. So at 9 months, a baby will take it. And when the baby is 15 months and thereabout, he will take it. But by the grace of God, comes February 2nd this year. February 2nd this year, that's about a week or 2 to go. Now, we'll roll out this measles rubella vaccine. We'll also roll out what we call malaria vaccine together the same day. So, the baby of 9 months old will take this measles rubella vaccine. Okay? And malaria vaccine as well. Malaria vaccine, sorry, let me just talk about measles rubella so that we don't get confused before we talk about malaria vaccine. Measles rubella vaccine is given to children from age 9 months through to 14 years. Whoever is within the age bracket is eligible to take the vaccine, measles rubella. And for this program is going to run for 10 days. So when we start from 2nd of February, we're going to close by 11th of February. Thereafter, that is where we see our people moving from houses to houses, churches to churches, mosques, marketplaces, and everywhere where we can get our target audiences. And after that, we are taking these vaccines to all our various health facilities across the wards and the health facilities in Ondo State, so that the vaccine will replace measles alone. So it will not be measles alone now at 9 months that the baby is taking. It will be measles rubella. Now, malaria vaccine is another new vaccine that is coming on board. We are kickstarting it as well February 2nd, and it's also going to run for 10 days, and after that 10 days we're taking it to our various facilities. So malaria vaccines will be available for our children that is from age 5 months old through to 5 years old. Do you get? And for measles rubella vaccines there are 2 doses. For malaria vaccine there are 4 doses that a baby is going to take before the baby is fully protected. And these vaccines, good enough, is free of charge to all the recipients in that age bracket. So by the grace of God, we're looking forward toward to a better and a healthier Ondo State if our people complies with the government. But we can't trust our people. We can't trust our people because their measures have been prepared already, and the governor is involved. The secretary to the governor is involved. All the commissioners are involved. All security gadgets are involved because of the fact that there are some local governments in Ondo State that have some security issues, So we have collaborated with the army guys, the armed forces in Ondo State. We collaborate with the special security gadgets in Ondo State, otherwise called the Nta Akure. So we are working together so that even if there are some security challenges in some local government, our people will have protection, to be able to go around all the nooks and crannies of the various local governments and get people vaccinated so that we can have, healthy Ondo State.
Okay, so with all said and done, that means resources have been put in place to get all these things, and we have people who have sacrificed to ensure that people are healthy in Ondo State. Now, how do you intend to address, this misinformation that will make people to resist taking all that you have for them?
Especially with the new vaccines coming in, the old one we have been used to it, but now, when the COVID-19 vaccine came, because it was relatively new, we had lots of
So thank you so very much. We leverage on the lesson learned from the issue of COVID-19 introduction. And that time we wanted to believe that there were no enough time to prepare people's mind, But this time around, we have started, preparing people's mind since October last year, even not September last year, to let them know that new vaccines are coming on board and that people should get ready. We have prepared people's mind in our various local government wards. We have even volunteers aside the government who healthcare workers that are there. We have the social mobilizations. We have the town announcers who work for us voluntarily to navigate and to make information available about this issue of new vaccines. And of course, when you see your kinsman telling you about the coming vaccine, and you know that this your kinsman is sound in mind, he's not a mad person, he has not lost his sanity, and is actually bringing out his own children or word for vaccination. Of course, you want to believe that, yes, of course, this is my man, let me just go and follow suit. Of course, like we said, the traditional rulers, we had meetings with them, and they have gone to their various community to also hold meetings with their people in their various kingdom, domain, street, and all of that, so that they prepare these people for us. Churches as well, we have been making information available, and courtesy of UNICEF. UNICEF made a lot of financial resources and some other things, technical resources available for us to enable us to go around to ensure that every person in every community has been reached with information. We also want to appreciate the commitment level of the various local government executive chairmen. On several occasions we have called them to meetings and to let them know about this. Of course, they are also going to be the champion, leading champion in their various local government to disseminate information, which they have started doing, of course, and so we believe strongly that people's mind are already prepared. And of course, we can't but continue to, encounter some little blocks. We prepare ourselves for that because in various fora where we have the opportunity of meeting with our people, we let our people realize the fact that there are some laws and regulations that, place punishment in place for people who resist, our vaccine process, or who is antagonistic to vaccine processes. Particularly, we had at the back of our mind the private nursery and primary school owners. They are the ones that are the big kind of bottleneck that we encounter on the field. They say how they want to take consent of parents of pupils before they allow their children to be vaccinated. Of course, we have let them know that government is not interested in whether the parents give consent or not. If this child is within the age bracket for vaccination, you either allow us to vaccinate these children right there in your school, or you get your school closed down, because the Ministry of Education is involved. The Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Education is involved. The Honorable Commissioner for Education is also involved. So everybody is aware. Talk about our representative of the honorable members of House of Assemblies in Ondo State. Everybody is aware. So there are laws, and we are ready to implement this law to the latter if anybody works against us. This is not just to frighten our people. This is not just to create fear, but just to have their hands in fellowshipping with the government in allowing people to get vaccinated, so that all of us can have healthy Ondo State today and healthy future.
Wow, thank you very much, Dr. Adepesu. I know that, like I said earlier, we leave you keep on educating us on and on and on and on, and we'll not be able to leave it, but time is not on our side. Now we are coming to the end of this session of the program now. What will be your final word before you leave here?
Thank you so very much. I want to encourage our people out there that they should bring out their children and wards out for this vaccine. The vaccine has been tested and has been trusted to be the best thing for human consumption, to protect us against all the vaccine preventable diseases. It is an opportunity. Let us take it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, and I hope that when you invite to next, you oblige your invitation.
For sure, we are always available. Thank you so very much.
Right now, we are going to have a kind of dance, entertainment, to shake it off. We have been sitting hearing about vaccination, but let's relax now and dance to some music. After then, we'll be bringing the rest of the program.